Well, once again, welcome back to, we're talking about episode 21 of Internet Traffic Kings. I'm the big Fabu John Fondi, broadcasting from the campus of UNLV in beautiful, fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada. And we've got some great shows for you as we've had in the past, and want to make sure that you guys are a part of it. You can also be a part of this show. You can check us out on Apple Podcasts. We really appreciate it if you give us 5 stars. Listen to us on Spotify. Go to our YouTube channel, which is just rocking. We'll talk more about that a little bit. Our Facebook page is doing well, and of course our website, Internet Traffic Kings. Because we say all this because this is a non-ad sponsored show, so we need as much help as we can get from you. We're going to give you great information, great guests, and of course gives me great pleasure to introduce the Clickfather and Kevin G. Vincenzi. Kevin, I don't know how you do it, man. Even this show, and I understand the next show, we've got another great set of guests. So I got to tell you, everyone seems to be as equal as the others. So, hey, kudos to you, man. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you, John.
And so we're kind of halfway in through summer right now. Not bothering you, but of course we're in the 115s here in Las Vegas.
Yeah, no, I know. I'll actually be back home to Vegas on Monday for some meetings. So yeah, it's a totally different thing. I equate it to having a blow dryer thrown on your face, right? If somebody just held a blow dryer up, that's pretty much what the
Well, that's
Vegas
pretty much what it is, because we're gonna have 20-mile-an-hour winds today.
Oh, there you go.
And when are you leaving to head back to your Malibu beach house?
Oh, I'm only going to Vegas on for a day and a half. So.
Oh, okay. So I'll still be out of town then, won't I?
I'm not sure. The following Monday, so I'm not sure if you'll.
Yeah. So I'll be out of town. So, Ixnay, I won't be visiting with you.
Well, this Saturday you said you'll be here.
That's correct. Yes.
Yeah, I'll be here this Saturday. I'm leaving on Monday.
Okay. And those who are listening in,
I'm saying this is some great content, let me tell you.
So I'm sure you're going to learn a lot from this, So you guys have my address. Be sure to come by and rob me if you will as well. And so, but kind of up and down, crazy, wacky stuff going on all over the place now with information that's coming in. And basically they say information is king, but using that information correctly does make you the king. And that's why we do this show. Are you seeing anything out there that's ultimately something that we should really be aware of or keep an eye on, Kevin?
No, I mean, it's, status quo right now. Business overall is starting to rebound, which is good. I don't want to get into what's legitimate, not legitimate with all the testing results, but the good news is sports is back, and the NBA just tested again today, and all the players came up negative. So that's working. That whole bubble system seems to be working for them out in Orlando. But no, you still have to be safe though. I mean, that's, I've done a limited travel, but the travel that I have done, I've, always worn my mask and just be safe. I mean, it's World 2.0. That's what it is. It's not going to change.
And we're going to be in World 3.0 here pretty quick as we adjust to whatever the normal is going to be.
Right.
In fact, it's so weird. The Stanley Cup is going on right now, and of course,
right.
The Vegas Golden Knights, they're doing well in it as well. So, but it's it's weird the way that we are adjusting and stuff. But I guess that's
that's ironic because all the hockey's being played in Canada. But yet the Toronto Blue Jays are not allowed to play in Canada. They have to stay in the States. So it's
they're not playing in the bubble though. That's why. So,
right.
Yeah.
No, it's
but they're outside. So what the heck,
Kudos to them for getting sports back. I don't know what's going to happen with the NFL. Obviously, with the Raiders' new stadium that I mentioned on previous podcast, I almost purchased VVIP tickets or seat licenses for 30 years, and I'm very happy I didn't at this point. Just because you don't know. I mean, they're still collecting the ticket prices. They're still collecting all the fees, and you may not have a product at the end of the day.
Yeah, the Garth Brooks concert was the first event that was going to be there. It got postponed, so everybody's just on pins and needles a little bit and stuff, and that's kind of what we're looking at now and stuff. So, I read something, Kevin, and I don't know what to make of it. Is is what's going on with Lego and those and their operation. It just
Yeah,
sounds kind of weird.
I heard the same thing on a podcast I listened to, Business Wars Daily. So glad I have your attention there, John. That's great.
That's okay, but I'm only on I'm only on, Kevin, when I'm talking. So
I know,
I'm
I
checking
know.
out some time here. Go
No,
ahead.
all good, all good. Yeah, so on Business Wars Daily, a podcast that I listened to, I heard that as well. So like in March, they transformed a bunch of their molds to make face shields, just to help their community out.
Mhm.
So that was really interesting that they did that. And then the other interesting part with Lego was they pulled all police molds and also presidential molds. So like Legos of the White House or what have you, they stopped production. So really, really interesting. Again, a sign of the times, right?
Well, more so than that, it's like, do you really think that the kids are going to understand what's going on there?
Right. No, for sure, for sure.
You know,
I found that odd. I applaud them for making the masks. The pulling of everything else I
yeah.
found rather odd, but
And there's a lot of companies that are retooling to make masks now. One, because they want to contribute, and other
right,
reasons because they're not in business anymore and stuff. So
right.
that makes a lot of sense. And so,
Well,
so
it's good now too that it's stabilized, so you can actually buy a high quality mask for under $10, where for a period of time they were going for 60, $70, for a thing that's 30 cents
mhm.
essentially to make. So at least it's gotten better. And actually, I have Internet Traffic Kings masks, I have Clickfather masks, I have some pretty good ones that
Oh,
we made. Yeah.
that's awesome. That's awesome. Um, how about traffic? Traffic still prices coming down,
Yeah,
performance going up?
yeah. It's prices will start going up now with the election, because obviously election dollars, unlike most other media buys, are just thrown out there for a short period of time, with not a lot of metrics behind them. That's still an area in which they'll throw money without performance. We do performance-based marketing, so everything is based to a metric. I send somebody to your site, John. I'm hoping they convert to a lead or a sale. You pay me for that action. Most of the political dollars are strictly branding. So they're just throwing money in. So it doesn't matter if they pay $5 a click or $50 a click. They just want to get those eyeballs. So that does disrupt the market quite a bit, but you can navigate around it. It just takes a little bit of work.
It may be summertime here in Vegas, but we're going to heat things up with you a little bit as well. And you sort of know where I'm going with this. So can we put you on the hot seat as we normally do?
Oh, absolutely. Go for it.
Okay, so nice, cool place to be. This question comes from Boise, Idaho, and it comes from Rebecca. And nice to see that we've got males and females that are sending in questions for us as well. And she says, "What's the best way for me to promote my Google Ads management business?"
Google Ads management business. It's a good question. So the way we promote ours is pretty much word of mouth, because to go out and advertise it's a very competitive landscape. So to go out there and say, "Hi, I do Google Ads management along with everybody else," that's really challenging. I would do my best to get one or two good clients that would then give you referrals, because I mean that's the best way to get business, right? Well, hey, I do search management for John Fondy. Give him a call, and you say, "Yeah, Kevin's been doing a great job." I think that's the approach that I would take. That's pretty much what we do. We don't do a lot of paid search ads for our management division, yet it's a flourishing division for us. So that would be my advice. Pick one or two clients that you feel you can work with, and we'll also give you referrals once you do a good job for them, and build it that way. So you're building it organically.
Well, yeah, and you can't really get much better than a referral,
Right.
because that third party referral is one of the best ways to go, and it's kind of a guy that knows a guy that has been through it, if you will, and
Right.
talks pitfalls and things that you improved on and all of that
Hmm.
stuff. So very good advice. I'm sure Rebecca is going to give you a referral for that as well.
Yeah, just give us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts.
That's all we ask for. That's all
That's the
we ask
payment
for.
we need. That's
That's
it.
what we need. So, like I said, we've got people all over the United States, all over the world, and it's international as well. So, Nick from Israel sends it to
Oh,
us. He says, "Guys, I love your show. do you ever partner with media buyers? That's a good question.
That's something we always do, actually. Running our affiliate network is essentially a partnership. We're the conduit between the advertiser and the publisher. So we facilitate the transaction. So if that's his question, that part's answered. If his question is, do we partner from a media buying standpoint? Yes, we do that as well. So if you have a campaign, John, that say you're spending $500 a day on, and you need either funding, intel, help with a Google account, help with a Facebook account, we will do a partnership or a JV with you as well. So yes, we do, Nick.
Yeah, I think you have to be really careful and vet those partnerships, because sometimes
Absolutely.
they can be, and we've talked about that on previous shows, that you have to really be careful and find out, make sure you're not doing all the work and everyone else is taking advantage of that as well.
Well, that, and also that you have the same philosophy when you're buying media. My risk tolerance might be a lot less, being that I've been doing it for so long and I understand the pitfalls, than somebody brand new that just doesn't understand that the written words can come back and bite you in the rear years later. So to understand the compliance aspect and everything else. So the people that we do work with on a JV partnership basis, we make sure that we're aligned with them on the same goals, the same strategies, same morals.
Do you ever work with people that you haven't met yet, that find you and say, "Hey, I'd like to partner with you"?
Many. I've had partners and I've had media buyers that I've worked with for 15 years and never met them.
Well, that's
Never met them.
awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty
That's
crazy.
awesome. Yeah,
That's
it
pretty
is.
crazy. Digital world.
Hey, Kevin, you and I have been doing conventions and trade shows for
Yeah.
years, and we've kind of seen them grow, and we've seen them change, and we've seen different elements of it. In fact, just not too long ago, we did a virtual trade show
Yeah.
with D Money,
Yeah.
and we're seeing things changing a little bit. Are trade shows coming back? Are they how are they translating?
Yeah, they're almost everybody's moving to virtual now, and we'll see how that pans out. I mean, D Money did a great job being one of the first virtual trade shows. But I see now LeadsCon and I think Affiliate Summit, everybody's pretty much going virtual. My biggest pet peeve on this whole thing is all the money that's out there that was paid for these trade shows.
Mm-hmm.
And again, not to call anybody out, but a lot of these companies that I may have just mentioned, they've held everybody's money, and now that there is no show in sight, return the money. And the challenge that you're having with that is the credit card companies won't let you charge back after 60 days either. So now you're running into, there's a trade show that we paid for last November that was supposed to happen in March, and they keep putting up these faux dates that are never going to happen. So they keep extending it, but they're holding potentially millions of dollars, which is not really a fair thing to do, especially during COVID. It's fine for us as a company. We can absorb it. It's not going to break us to have, $1,700 out there for a ticket, but for a marketer, he invested that $1,700 thinking that he's going to go to the show, make some new contacts, and potentially expand his business. And instead, the company's got that money and he's got nothing in return. So it is, I'm not going to call it theft of services, but there's no service rendered. So do the right thing and return the money, right?
Well, I think so. And for all intents and purposes, this is going to come back. And would you ever invest with that company?
That's the biggest thing that I'm seeing. I mean, the companies that I've been working with, for many years, I'm very disappointed at how they're handling it. They just keep shifting. Yeah, well, now we're going to do this. Now we're going to do that. And, the timelines are unrealistic, and the timelines are just made so that they can just hold on to the money for a period more. And the other concern is maybe they don't have the money. Maybe they've already pre-spent it because, in a convention, you're front loading, you're paying for your convention space and your entertainment and all these different things. So that's a concern as well. But there'll definitely be a shakeout. I don't think, there'll be as many companies. I don't think will be around at the end of the day. And whoever does it best virtually is gonna win at this point, because we're absolutely a virtual business.
Here in Vegas, they're just finishing or on the road to finishing that new wing of the convention center where the Riviera Hotel used to be.
Oh, wow.
And they just announced now that, hey, we're going to keep working on it, but we're in no hurry to finish it because CES is canceled. CES is going to go virtual, and
Yeah.
so they're
Tour
just
de
going to.
France went virtual.
What's that?
Tour de France went
Yeah,
virtual.
right.
Yeah, and they're letting common people do certain segments of it. I mean, it's cool. It's
Yeah, and they picked up Peloton as a sponsor as
yeah,
well.
that's right.
As
Very
well.
smart. Yeah.
And so, but anyway, so that's what we're seeing. The Boring Company is still working here. Elon Musk is still putting that massive people mover in.
Mhm.
That's gonna connect all the halls, the different halls. We've got the main hall, we've got the north hall, the south hall, and then we've got the west hall that they're finishing right now. And then that new hotel, Resorts World, has
Right.
decided they want to hook on to that as well. And
Oh,
stuff.
smart.
And so these guys are a lot smarter than me, which is not hard to do. But so it kind of tells us that these people are all gambling on this thing turning around here. And I think maybe we can learn by watching them and just minimize our exposure to what we're doing as well. And we've got a great guest here. We're having a lot of fun with him as well. He's called Mr. Surreal, and you'll understand when we bring him on. We're talking about Brian Pfeiffer. Brian, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Hey guys, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
So we're both in Vegas right now. So it's a good thing you're staying inside because you don't want to be outside, man.
Yeah, what is it, like 115 today? It's
115, 20-mile-an-hour wind. Kevin, you referred to it as a blow dryer out there as well.
Yeah, sure is.
well, we got like another week. It's always June 16th to August 16th. That's when it's miserable here. But after that, it's not bad.
And so I'm heading out to California for my West Coast swing to visit some clients out there for I own a television network, and so we'll see those people. So I get a little break as well, and so that's kind of it. So Kevin, you just never fail about getting great guests, and it looks like we're gonna have a great one with Brian. You want to say hi?
Yeah, look forward to it. I hear he's doing a lot of great things, launching a course and a bunch of stuff. So.
Yeah,
Interesting to hear what you got.
2020 has been a pivot year.
It sure has. It sure has. And you said you can't do Netflix, which is something I should do as well, because you're right. You get to bed and you already consume so much media during the day, and then all of a sudden you're watching. Even if it's a documentary or something that you feel is educational. You look down, it's like shit. It's 1 o'clock in the morning, and you're back up at 6. So, yeah, I get it.
That's the way it is. And so you got to prepare for that. Anticipate is what we've been saying a long time. Brian, I really loved reading your bio. You've got such a vast array of how you started out. You became an entrepreneur when you were small. You figured it out, and you probably didn't even know what you were figuring out at that time.
Yeah, that's the truth. I mean, even in my early days of like high school, I had like a racing team, like a stock car racing team.
Uh-huh.
And, I started out with like the junker cars, and then I moved my way up. And by the time I was graduating high school into college, I was like, had a full on racing team. So, and that was just completely off the, just hobby type of thing, turned into a pretty big experience.
And the great thing about it, I mean, you said that you were really not that great of a driver. So you just kind of adapted in it and perfected.
Yeah. I mean, nobody ever trained me. So I grew up on snowmobiles and 3-wheelers and motorcycles. So I kind of had that adrenaline junkie in me, but then, I got onto the track there, and nobody teaches you that stuff. You got to get a feel for it when you're out there. You know what I'm saying? So, but as I got better, I got better cars. Like I moved up through like 3 generations of cars. And by the time I had the last one, I was actually one of the top drivers. So,
oh wow,
yeah, it took a lot of trial and error to get to that level, and finding the right people to be on my team, because I didn't have the technical side of things really down, like the setup of the car and all that stuff. That's like a whole job in itself. You have to find somebody that really knows what they're doing. And I did finally get to the right guy, and he ended up really helping us out a lot. So,
have you ever been over to Danny Corker's place?
I have. What's his place?
Counting Cars.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I've seen that TV show. It's pretty good. I haven't been over there.
He's really a cool guy, and you can actually go in and tour the place and see what they're doing and stuff like that as well.
I like that show. When I don't know if it's still on or not, because I cut out my TV time. But when I did have TV time, I did enjoy that show.
Yeah, it is still on. I think it's on A&E.
Okay.
but it's a great tour, and they're great guys over there as well too.
That was one of my favorite channels, by the way. I used to like that one, and then there was like a antique one I used to like. There was all some good programming on there. Those were fun.
So
See, John, he just said he stopped watching Netflix and he's put himself in a binge TV timeout, and here you are trying to loop him back in.
Yeah, that's right.
Trying to rope you back in there.
I'm like that junkie in the parking lot at 12 o'clock midnight.
Well, you know what got me on the Netflix thing a little bit too, not to mention the time factor, but I watched that one show. It was called Game Changers. I don't know if you guys saw that. I was at that whole plant-based protein diet. And then later I found out, after I actually went and bought some of that plant-based protein and crap, I found out that show was sponsored by the guy who owns that company, Beyond Meat. So basically that was a big commercial.
Oh,
so that kind of pissed me off about that whole situation, because I watched that and I got into it. I went and bought some of that meat and I tried it. I didn't like it, so I didn't stick with it. But that turned out to be a big commercial. So.
Yeah. It did. So, so now you've progressed, man. I think you mentioned that your parents said, "When are you going to grow up and get a real job and stuff?" And then that's when things really took off for you.
Yeah, it was funny because I was leading the corporate life in my like early 2000s. I had like a sales job and I was doing pretty well. I was in the commercial print world, and I just started throwing these. I was working at the nightclub on the weekend for extra cash, like security, front door guy. And the next thing you know, the club asked me to do like an event, like on a Friday night, and I did it, and it actually turned out good. A lot of people showed up because I went to college in the Chicagoland area, Northern Illinois. So I had a lot of college friends and people that I knew from college that kind of, I told them to come by and they came by. And next thing you know, they're like, "Well, can you do that again, but maybe in like a month?" So I did it like once a month. And then it turned into once a week. And then it turned into twice on the weekends. And then it turned into 3 days a week, 4 days a week. Next thing you know, I'm making more money doing that than I was at my corporate job. And I'm like, forget this. This is fun. I'm hanging out with hot girls, having drinks every night. I'm like, I'm going to do this instead. And since then, I've been basically on my own. That was back in about 2004-ish. So
how'd you get involved in the bachelorette party business in Vegas?
Well, I actually moved out here in 2013. I got partially paid for my move out here was Hakkasan. When they opened up, that was in 2013.
Okay. Yeah.
And they were looking for some of the best talent in the country to bring, their followings or their, clientele into Hakkasan. Mm-hmm. So ultimately I ended up out here because of that. And that's how I ended up in Vegas. And then I realized real quick once I got out here that I actually had more contacts in the Vegas nightlife field than I actually knew, because I had been doing events on like Memorial Day and Labor Day for prior to my move out here for about 6 years. So I pretty much had all the contacts I needed, and I had a ton of clientele from Chicago. So I really didn't need to work for a club. I could have probably come out here and started my own business, but I did learn the ropes from the inside instead of the outside, which was good. And once I got a full year under my belt out here at it wasn't a non-compete, but it was more like I had like some kind of contract where I didn't have to pay back for that move as long as I stayed there like a year. I don't remember what it was called, but I ended up staying the full year, didn't have to pay that back. And then I ended up starting my own business out here because I just had so many customers that were already like my customers from Chicago that, I didn't need the venue to like help me build my clientele. I already had a clientele when I moved out here. So.
And obviously now with COVID, that's pretty much gone, huh?
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. On March, I can remember the date. It was the 13th or 14th of March. They closed everything. And from that day on, my company has had zero revenue. And that's coming off of a record year last year. And we were on pace to have a record March from the year prior, just based on the reservations we had. We were definitely on pace to have a record. So I was for sure going to have another record year, and it went to zero like that. Wow. So lost everything. We lost all our reservations for the entire year. I mean, I personally refunded over $55,000 in deposits.
Wow. So what's happening if you are getting inquiries now? How are you adapting to that?
I mean, we're getting so few. There's a couple places that are open. It's not good. I even tell people, I'm like, don't waste your money. They go to like Marquee or Encore Beach, and they're still charging full price for a bottle, like say 700 plus tip and tap, so $1,000. There's no DJ, there's no crowd, there's no GA, no tickets, no guest list.
Right.
So they get there, and you're paying $1,000 for one bottle to hang out with the 6 people you walked in with. What is the point of that?
Right.
So I've had a couple customers that, insisted they wanted to go check out Marquee. And I'm like, listen, I'm telling you how it is. And they got mad at me. And I'm like, I told you what it was going to be like. I don't know why you're getting mad at me. Like, I told you. So I'm literally steering people away from coming. I've had people hit me up about Labor Day. And I'm like, listen, save your money. Do not come out here until COVID is over because it sucks.
Right.
So,
Right.
Well,
So sorry, you said you have a lot of contacts in the industry. What are people pivoting, like people that aren't blessed like you to have a different hustle that they can work on? What's a door guy
I've
doing
seen
now?
a couple people jump into real estate.
Okay.
I think people are still riding that unemployment. I know the $600 federal come up just came off,
Yeah.
but I think they're going to get something worked out here sooner than later. So
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure a good amount of this town is on the unemployment dole right now.
Yeah, but
And,
then what's going to happen when they reopen, Brian? They're not going to reopen at capacity. So even if they, when Marquee reopens, they're not going to have the full staff.
Well, that's the thing. I honestly think these clubs are kind of doomed until they get this vaccine or some kind of herd immunity going on, because
Yep.
There's no way they can support a DJ with half empty or half full or whatever. And
Right.
there's no fine line for these clubs. It's either like it's either full or not open. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's kind of
Same
like
thing with the
you can't really
showrooms. Yeah.
have the nightclub experience on a half full club. And people pay for that fullness. That's what they want.
Same thing with a Vegas show. They were talking about if they reopen La Rev at half capacity to break even. I mean, it's not the same thing.
Right.
Having the roar of the crowd. And I agree with you. I mean, being 24 years off and on in Vegas, now, beyond my prime of going to the clubs, but that whole experience of being in a club and, the amount of people and the music and everything, that's the vibe. That's what you pay.
I mean, the people that typically spend the most money, they want to be on the dance floor where all the action is.
Yep.
And if there's no action there, then what's the reason they're spending money? You know what I'm saying?
So that's so
Yeah,
true.
it doesn't mesh.
Right.
But you stay busy though. You've kind of, the great thing about it, you mentioned you kept your team working as well, which is great. And you've actually got a new project that you're starting now, and you're putting a lot of time into that, and we're looking forward to it come out. Tell us about it.
Well, I actually, when COVID happened, like this was in March, I spent like 2.5 months just writing content straight for 2.5 months. I woke up every day, wrote content for one of my authority sites. And I'm like, okay, I'll just ride this, COVID thing out. When we come back this summer, everything will be good. Well, about 2 months into it, I'm like, we're not coming back this summer.
Right.
I'm going to lose everything here. So I'm like, I have to start making money or I'm going to be in big trouble here, because I'm running out of money quick. After all those refunds that wiped me out, my savings, everything, and I had no income coming in at all. So what I did is I pivoted. Now, I've always done affiliate marketing as a side hustle in the winter months, because Vegas is usually pretty slow between October and March. And I had like a side hustle going for the last 4 years in affiliate marketing. So I've done a couple course launches. I've actually had some real successful campaigns over the years. I have a full-time media buyer on my staff. And so what I did is I'm like, I hit them up. I said, man, we got to figure this out. Let's get some campaigns rolling. We all three of us have working campaigns right now. And my one media buyer and then another partner, I brought them together. And what we did is we spent the last 3 months, running these campaigns. We came up with an amazing course. It's actually an 8-week program. I think when it's all said and done, it's going to end up being about 200 videos. And I put this course together. I just did a beta launch to my YouTube and my personal list. We got about 50 in there for the beta students. And then I got about 25 old students I let in. So we're going to try to get some of those students in, get them making money. And then we're going to do a big launch this probably early September. So that's the plan. And we're all running like live campaigns right now. So the nice thing is I'm actually able to show like results that are working right now with the traffic we're using. And it's like, a lot of these guys are selling courses out there, man. Unfortunately, they haven't done traffic or run traffic in years. Okay. And all three of us have campaigns. I mean, on an average day, like we'll do between 7 and 10, maybe even 12,000 in commissions on an average day. That's between the three of us. So for us to be able to do those kind of numbers and then show like the ad accounts, what we're doing,
that's the key. That's the key. I mean, I've been doing affiliate marketing for 22 years. And, when we work with a media buyer, we work with an affiliate, the key is to be able to test it ourselves, prove it and say, okay, Brian, now you scale it with real numbers. Right. What I can't stand is, if I'm evaluating a campaign and I talk to an account manager and they say, oh yeah, it's doing great, and they just give you a bunch of shit, but they've never run it. They don't know how to buy media. They don't understand the nuances. Cause as you know, there's a million pitfalls out there as well that can happen. So it's great that you're actually taking it, showing the stats and saying, look, this is what we're doing and this is how you can do it yourself. So
yeah, I even like
awesome.
set up a campaign from scratch. I built the landing page. I made the ads. I showed them how I do the different ads to find the winners, and I launched it and got it profitable in like 3 days. And I put that all documented in camera. Plus, I did 3 follow-along campaigns for 15 days, and I showed people exactly what I did each day, how I optimized. So like the training, honestly, in my opinion, I buy just about everybody's course that comes out on affiliate marketing. That's anybody in the space, and I have all the courses. And this one there is not even one that's even close to this, because I put like what's working right now in there. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's as good as it gets. That's why I'm really curious on this beta group. I really want to see if my training and showing these guys, I mean, you're always going to get some of those people that buy the product and that don't end up doing anything with it. But
right.
I'm hoping there's going to be a handful of guys that go through this thing and actually apply the training, because it's really good. And I want to see those results,
I'd love to see it as well. If you want to share it with me, I'll take a look at it.
Yeah. Sure.
For sure.
That's
so
good.
Going back to your point about how you refunded all your clients with your bachelorette business.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking, no problem. We're talking about earlier in the show. How all these trade shows, right? LeadsCon, Affiliate Summit, Digital Marketer, they're not refunding anybody.
Yeah.
What's your thought on that?
Yeah, I'm kind of pissed off, and I paid for the traffic and conversion summit.
Yeah, me too. Right? That's kind of fucked up. I mean,
yeah, and I emailed them and I said, listen, this is back when I had like, I was refunding $55,000 in refunds. I'm saying, I'm going to run out of cash, guys. I need some help here.
Yeah, $1,700 back. Yeah, right.
And they don't even reply.
I know.
They didn't even reply.
I know. And
they
then
just ignored the email.
Right. And then if you want to put a chargeback in, it's a 60-day window, so they won't do that either. So it's just it's insanity.
Yeah,
it's insanity.
Yeah. I was wondering if anybody else was feeling that.
No, man, I've been talking about it for weeks on the show, because I think it's terrible. But John made a great point, Brian. What's going to happen is when these guys do resurface, the ones that survive, I'm not going to go to them. Are you going to go to them?
No, absolutely not. In
fact, I'm going to be like,
I'll go because they got my money, and I'll go to that next one. But I'm not going to go.
But I'm saying, you're not loyalized anymore because they didn't treat you right. I mean, that's my
they should have refunded everyone's money and decided if they're moving it to whenever they're going to move it to. You want to go, then you make that decision on your own. It shouldn't be a forced decision. You know what I'm saying?
Brian, the dates they're putting up are unrealistic anyway. They're just doing that so they can realistically hold the money.
I understand the business side of things, because I just went through this whole situation. Sure. They spent so much money on advertising and all this other stuff to build that stuff and acquire all those customers that they don't want to take that huge loss. Well, I did the same damn thing in Las Vegas.
Right. That's
I started spending money. I spent between Google AdWords, Facebook, my SEO guy, I spend about $15,000 a month. I start spending heavy in December, because that's when a lot of our spring leads come in. So December, January, February, $45,000 in ad spend. And guess what? Right. Every one of those customers I acquired with a deposit, I refunded. I had to. Right. I didn't get a single bad review, because I was good enough. I mean, trust me, I watched $40,000 in savings dwindle to zero, because that $45,000 was money I threw into the toilet.
Yeah, but you did the right thing, and when Vegas opens back up, hopefully these people will come back to you and give you a referral and what have you. And that's the right way to do. That's the right way to do business.
That's exactly the right way to do business.
Well, what I did, a little ninja trick for those out there listening, is when I refunded them, I begged them. I said, hey, listen, man, I'm really in a bad situation. My company's in real big trouble here. Would you mind leaving me a 5-star review, just saying, hey, this company's legit? And I got so many good reviews. So I'm building up my social proof and my reviews, because I'm refunding the money. At least I was getting reviews out of it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure. No, but you did the right thing, and that's perfect. And that's what I'm saying. So people are going to go back at least, and either they're going to book with you or tell their friends, hey, this guy did the right thing. So because no matter what, even when everything reopens, there's going to be hesitation. Yes. Right? Nobody's thinking forward anymore. Even if the vaccine came out tomorrow, you're still going to think, oh, December, I don't know if I should do this or that, because I don't know if things will shut back down, if version 2 of the virus will come out. Like there's too many unknowns.
Right.
But having a stable partner, you say, okay, you know what? This guy did the right thing. I can move forward with this, knowing that if something happens, he's going to do the right thing again.
Right.
Great. And in fact, we'd love to have you back on the show to kind of tell us how things work out and how the class works. So tell our viewers how they can get in touch with you, Brian.
Oh, if you want to get in touch with me, I'm pretty easy to find. You can just Google my name, and I'm pretty much all over the homepage, Brian Pfeiffer. But I do own a big company called BachelorVegas.com. So if you inquiry on Bachelor or BacheloretteVegas.com, I own both those. Those all come through my email box. So that's probably the best way, Bachelor Vegas or BacheloretteVegas.com.
Or Instagram, how I connected with you, Marketing Meathead, right?
Yeah, I got Brian Surreal. That's my other big one. That's more my personal girl party one. And then Marketing Meathead's more of my internet business-based one. So I tried to keep them separate, but people kind of figured it out, I think.
Yeah, that's so true. We want to thank Brian Pfeiffer for being on the show here. It was great. And I want to thank the ClickFather, Kevin DiVincenzi, for being with us. Great guest as always. And so for all of you, our viewing audience out there, I'm the Big Fat Boo, John Fondy. We appreciate you so much for being our audience. Remember, we're a non-ad supported organization here. So what you can do is you can actually help to support us by going to Apple Podcasts. The cool thing there is just like Brian, give us 5 stars. Let us know you appreciate what we did, and go to Spotify and go to our YouTube channel. You'll see more videos and more great people that are to be on it as well. Internet Traffic Kings is a great place to go on our Facebook page. And so for all of us, to all of you, we'll see you on the next show. We'll be back, and keep on keeping on.